The community slowdown. When the economy shows up on Main Street. Welcome back to the Daily Economy 24/7. Today we are exploring a moment in the economic cycle that is easy to miss if you are only watching the headlines, but impossible to ignore if you are paying attention to the world around you. This is the moment when a consumer slowdown becomes a community slowdown. It is the moment when the economy stops being a set of numbers and becomes something you can see, hear, and feel in the places where you live. It is the moment when Main Street becomes the clearest indicator of where the country is heading. This episode blends narrative storytelling with economic analysis. You will hear the stories of real people, real businesses, and real communities. Then we will step back and break down the data behind those stories. Let us begin. Economic slowdowns rarely begin with dramatic events. They begin with small shifts, subtle changes, quiet signals. Imagine a typical suburban shopping center on a weekday afternoon. The kind of place with a grocery store, a few restaurants, a clothing boutique, a coffee shop, and a hardware store. A year ago, this place was buzzing. Parking lots were full. Families were running errands. Workers were grabbing lunch. Kids were begging for snacks. But today, something feels different. The parking lot is half empty. The coffee shop has open tables. The boutique has a sale sign that has been up for weeks. The restaurant that used to have a lunch rush now has empty booths. These are the first signs of a consumer slowdown. Take Jasmine, a retail manager in one of these stores. She has worked here for 6 years. She knows the rhythms of her store. She knows when customers come in, what they buy, and how they behave. But lately, the rhythm has changed. She walks the aisles each morning, scanning shelves that used to empty quickly. Now, inventory sits longer. Items that once sold out in days now linger for weeks. Promotions that used to spark excitement barely move the needle. She checks the sales numbers on her tablet. Down again. Not by a dramatic amount, but enough to notice. Enough to worry. She calls her district manager. He tells her to reduce hours. She asks how much. He says, as much as you can. She hangs up and looks around her store. She thinks about her team. She thinks about the customers she sees less often. She thinks about the subtle shift she feels in the air. This is how a slowdown begins. Quietly, gradually, almost invisibly. But if you know what to look for, the signs are unmistakable. Now let us step out of the narrative and into the data, because the numbers confirm what Main Street is already feeling. Across the country, we are seeing slower retail sales, declining restaurant traffic, rising credit card delinquencies, lower discretionary spending, more price sensitivity, a shift toward discount retailers, fewer big-ticket purchases, more households delaying or canceling travel. These are not isolated data points. They are part of a pattern. Households are adjusting their behavior. They are choosing essentials over extras. They are trading down. They are delaying purchases. They are tightening budgets. This is not panic. It is caution. And caution spreads. When consumers become cautious, businesses feel it. When businesses feel it, they adjust. When they adjust, the slowdown becomes more visible. Let us break down a few key indicators. Retail sales. Retail sales have flattened in categories that normally show steady growth. Clothing, electronics, home goods, and personal care items are all showing signs of weakness. Restaurant traffic. Restaurant visits have declined for several consecutive months. Families are eating at home more often. Workers are skipping lunch out. People are tipping less. Credit card delinquencies. Delinquencies are rising across income levels. This is a sign that households are stretched. Discount retailers. Discount stores are gaining market share. This is a classic sign of consumer stress. Travel. Travel spending is still elevated compared to pre-pandemic levels, but momentum is slowing. Bookings are down, trips are shorter, households are more price sensitive. These numbers tell the same story as the scenes on Main Street. The consumer is slowing. Now let us return to the narrative. Meet Luis, a small restaurant owner in a mid-sized town. He opened his restaurant 8 years ago. He survived the pandemic. He survived inflation. He survived supply chain disruptions. But now, he is facing something different. A slow, steady decline in customers. Lunch traffic is down. Dinner traffic is down. Catering orders are down. Even weekend business is softer. He has already cut hours. He has already renegotiated with suppliers. He has already trimmed his menu. He has already reduced staff. But the numbers are still tight. He sits at his desk after closing, looking at his bank account. He scrolls through his expenses. He calculates how long he can keep going if things do not improve. He thinks about his employees. He thinks about his family. He thinks about the community he serves. He wonders how many other small businesses are feeling the same pressure. The truth is, many. Small businesses are the backbone of local economies. They rely on steady foot traffic. They rely on discretionary spending. They rely on customers who feel confident. When the consumer slows, small businesses feel it first and feel it hardest. This is the small business squeeze. Now let us analyze what happens next, because a consumer slowdown does not stay contained. It spreads. When consumers pull back, businesses reduce hours. Hiring slows. Layoffs begin in vulnerable sectors. Local tax revenue declines. Community services tighten. Commercial real estate weakens. Inventory orders fall. Supply chains adjust. Marketing budgets shrink. This is the ripple effect. A slowdown in spending becomes a slowdown in revenue. A slowdown in revenue becomes a slowdown in jobs. A slowdown in jobs becomes a slowdown in confidence. A slowdown in confidence becomes a deeper slowdown in spending. This is how a consumer slowdown becomes a community slowdown. Let us break down a few of these ripple effects. Hiring. Businesses stop hiring for non-essential roles. Job postings decline. Hiring cycles lengthen. Hours. Workers see their hours cut. This reduces income, which reduces spending, which deepens the slowdown. Local government. Sales tax revenue falls. Budgets tighten. Projects get delayed. Services are reduced. Commercial real estate. Vacancies rise. Lease renewals slow. New developments are postponed. Supply chains. Suppliers receive fewer orders. Manufacturers reduce production. Logistics companies see lower volume. These ripple effects are not dramatic. They are gradual, but they are powerful. Now let us bring the story and the analysis together. Imagine driving through a typical suburban community. A boutique has a closing sign. A restaurant has reduced hours. A grocery store has more shoppers choosing store brands. A gas station has customers filling half tanks. A coffee shop has fewer tips in the jar. A hardware store has fewer weekend customers. A gym has more cancellations. A daycare has fewer enrollments. These are not isolated events. They are connected threads in a larger economic fabric. This is what a consumer slowdown looks like when it becomes a community slowdown. It is not a crash. It is not a crisis. It is a tightening, a softening, a shift in behavior that becomes a shift in the economy. So here is the takeaway. Economic slowdowns do not begin in Washington or on Wall Street. They begin in the places where people live, work, and spend. They begin with small decisions: to save instead of spend, to wait instead of buy, to tighten instead of stretch. When enough households make those decisions at the same time, the economy shifts. We will continue tracking this story every day, right here on the Daily Economy 24/7. Stay informed, stay aware, and stay ahead.